Let's talk about InDesign's casing options: uppercase, small caps, superscript, subscript, underline, and strike through. Firstly, I include this picture just to make the point that they're called uppercase because the big characters were literally stored in the upper typecase and the small characters stored in the lower typecase, back in the days of metal type. When you set text in all caps, you make the word shapes very similar. And while this isn't always a bad thing, I think it should be avoided for most continuous reading text, because we read by recognizing word shapes, and when the shapes are very similar, we are reducing the readability of the text. I'm not saying by any means that you shouldn't set text in all caps. Sometimes it's very effective, but avoid it or use it very sparingly for continuous reading text. If you do find yourself supplied with text that has been set in all caps or typed with the caps lock key on, you do have some options for changing that, but they have caveats. So if I change this to sentence case, you can see that it's easily tripped up when InDesign runs into a period. It takes that to be the end of the sentence. So if you're going to use that option, then make sure that you check your text very carefully. As well as all caps, we have small caps. That is the big T, small t on the control panel. If you're going to use these, be aware of the difference between fake small caps and real small caps. Fake small caps are letters that have been reduced to 70% of size, and that actual percentage can be adjusted in the advanced type preferences. Windows users, your preferences will be under the edit menu, and the option is right there. But whatever percentage you choose, these letters are always going to look feeble set alongside the 100% caps. So if possible, use real small caps. These are independently drawn characters where the width of the stroke is the same as the full size caps. How do you know if you have real small caps? If you're using a Pro font, and here I'm using Minion Pro, then chances are you do. You can check on the glyphs panel. The glyphs panel, part of my typography workspace, but we can also access it from the type menu. And if you come to the show drop down and you have small caps, then they are available to you. A variant of small caps is what's referred to as open type all small caps, where regardless of what case the text was typed in, when you apply this, all the letters will end up as small caps at set to the X height, the height of the lowercase text. And if you are using small caps within a body of upper and lowercase text, they can look much more sophisticated than using text in all caps. Here are some examples of using small caps. So to apply these, I will need to come to the control panel, to my open type flyout, and then to all small caps. Now, rather than having to do that on a case-by-case basis, which would be rather tedious because there's quite a few examples here, I could create a character style that captures the small cap format. Now, I'm jumping ahead in the narrative here. We haven't yet got to character styles, but I just want to point out that that's what I have done. And once that character style is set up, I can just apply it by clicking on its name on the character styles panel. In a similar vein, we have superscript and subscript. Superscript and subscript, when applied synthetically, are just reduced size characters, as we see on the left. But if you are working with a Pro font, then you will likely have the option of OpenType Superior, which you can access from the OpenType menu, and OpenType Inferior instead of Subscript. And once again, this is to do with the weight of the strokes being comparable to the regular upper and lowercase text. Again, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here by bringing up footnotes, but footnotes are a time when you use superscript for the footnote character. Your footnote options are available under the Type menu, or perhaps you prefer endnotes instead. But if you are going to use these, then you can create a footnote reference character style. And that footnote reference character style can include the position of the footnote reference, in this case, OpenType Superior. I'm including a discussion of underline and strike through here because these options are grouped with uppercase and small caps on the control panel. Now, historically, underline is used to give emphasis with typewriter text, but on a typewriter, there weren't any other options. You didn't have the option of italicizing or making bold or changing the text to a color to give emphasis. So it's fallen out of fashion as a way of giving emphasis because it doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very good when the underline slices through the descenders of the type. That said, it is possible with your underline options to adjust the position as well as the weight, as well as the color of the underline. So it can be used without necessarily looking bad. It can also be used, as I'm using it here, to create a reverse out caption. This is a sort of unexpected use, perhaps, of underlining. But here, the underline, and this could also be done equally well with strike through, the weight of the underline is made big enough to cover the type, and its position is adjusted with the offset settings. Now, while underline has fallen out of fashion for giving emphasis, it has become a convention for designating hyperlinks. So if you are using a document that has hyperlinks in it, you can indicate those hyperlinks with an underline. And if you're doing so, you can do so most efficiently by creating a character style that will determine the weight, the position, and even the color of the underline. And then that can be applied wherever necessary by just clicking on its name on the character styles panel.